Professor Rex Investigates, Season 02, Episode 01, Rapid Weight Loss After 70. Welcome to Professor Rex Investigates, the series where we discover how to lose weight quickly after 70. Now, before we continue, I need you to pay close attention to what I'm about to say in the next few seconds. Something is happening silently to millions of people over 70. Something that almost no one notices. Something that doctors rarely explain with the clarity you deserve. And which, if ignored, can mean the difference between a long, vibrant, and active life or the beginning of a decline that no one wanted. I'm talking about a signal that your own body sends. Every day, silently, rapid weight loss after age 70. Have you or someone you love ever woken up one day, looked in the mirror, and realized that something had changed? That their clothes were looser? That their face looked different? That the belt that always tightened in the same hole now needed an extra hole? This seems simple. It even seems good sometimes. After all, we live in a world that glorifies weight loss. But what we found during this investigation will surprise you, because there is a huge difference between losing weight in a controlled, healthy, intentional way and losing weight unintentionally without dieting, without effort, without apparent explanation. And it is precisely this second situation that we are investigating today. So, if you're over 60, if you have a loved one over 70 in your life, or if you simply want to understand what your body is trying to communicate, don't change the screen, because what you're about to discover in the next few minutes could completely change how you view your health. Get ready. Our investigation begins now. Let's start with a simple question. What exactly is rapid weight loss? Because many people confuse things, and this confusion can be very costly. When we talk about rapid weight loss in the context of people over 70, we're not talking about losing a kilo or two after a week of eating lighter. We're not talking about those normal fluctuations the body experiences throughout the day. We're talking about something different, something that experts call unintentional weight loss. And do you know which sign healthcare professionals take most seriously? Losing more than 5% of body weight over a period of 6 to 12 months, without any deliberate change in diet or level of physical activity. Think about it for a moment. 5% may seem like a small amount, but for a person weighing 80 kilograms, that means 4 kilograms disappearing without explanation. For someone weighing 70 kilograms, that's 3.5 kilograms vanishing silently. This is the type of loss that the body doesn't experience by chance. And this is where our investigation really starts to get interesting. Because when the body of a person over 70 years old starts to lose weight in this way, it is sending a message. An urgent message. A message that, most of the time, people don't know how to interpret. But there's something even more important that you need to understand before continuing. It's not just the number on the scale that matters. It's what's being lost. Let me explain. When a young person loses weight unintentionally, the body tends to eliminate a combination of fat and muscle. It's not ideal, but the young body has an enormous capacity to recover. But when a person over 70 loses weight in this way, the story is completely different. From the age of 60 or 65, the body undergoes a natural process called sarcopenia. It's a difficult word, but the concept is simple. It's the gradual loss of muscle mass that occurs with aging. We all go through it. It's part of human biology. Now imagine this. A person is already experiencing sarcopenia, slowly losing muscle mass over the years. And suddenly, they begin to lose weight rapidly and unintentionally. What do you think happens with this combination? The impact is much greater, much deeper, and much more worrying than most people imagine. Have you ever noticed this happening to someone close to you? Perhaps a relative over 70 who suddenly seems to disappear inside their clothes? Tell us in the comments, because you're not alone in this discovery. But now we need to go deeper, because there's a list of possible causes for rapid weight loss after 70 that most people are simply unaware of. And that list doesn't begin where most people think. Many people, when they hear unintentional weight loss, immediately go to the scariest place. They think of serious illnesses. They think of difficult diagnoses. Yes, some of these issues are serious. Let's talk about them with transparency, with respect, and with all the clarity you deserve. But what our research revealed is that the number one cause of unintentional weight loss in people over 70 is not what most people imagine. It's something that's present in almost everyone's life, something that seems normal, something that many people don't even consider a health problem. And that something has a very simple name: social isolation. Wait, let me explain. When a person over 70 begins to live with less social interaction, when visits decrease, when meals are eaten alone, when the day begins to seem quieter than it should be, something happens to their appetite. Food loses its flavor, not literally at first, but emotionally. Eating alone doesn't have the same reward as eating with company. Meals become simpler, less frequent, smaller, and over time, the scale begins to show a lower number. Not because the body has decided to lose weight, but because the heart, in a way, has lost its appetite for life. This is something that scientific data confirms. Studies show that older adults living in social isolation have a significantly higher risk of developing malnutrition and unintentional weight loss than those with active social networks. But there's something even more surprising that we discovered. Social isolation doesn't act alone. It's almost always accompanied by another factor, a factor that is present in the lives of perhaps half of all people over 70 worldwide. And that factor is depression. Now, before continuing, I need to say something important. Depression in the elderly doesn't look like depression in younger people. This is one of the biggest mistakes that family members and even healthcare professionals make. In people over 70, depression rarely presents itself as the deep, visible sadness that everyone knows. Most of the time, it appears disguised, hidden behind other symptoms. Fatigue without apparent cause, lack of interest in things that once brought pleasure, a certain apathy that those around interpret as just old age, and, of course, a decreased appetite. Did you know about this sign? That depression in the elderly can initially manifest as loss of appetite and, consequently, weight loss? This is one of the most important findings of this investigation, and one of the quietest, because when a family member notices that their grandfather or grandmother is losing weight, the first thought is rarely, it could be depression. Usually, the family goes straight to physical exams, to doctors, to searching for illnesses on their cell phones. And physical illnesses absolutely need to be investigated. We'll talk about them soon. But what our research revealed is that ignoring the emotional and social dimension of weight loss in older adults is a mistake that can delay proper treatment for months, sometimes years. So, before we continue, let me ask you a direct question. Do you know the emotional state of the person over 70 that you love? Have you really talked to them? Not just asked, "How are you?" and accepted "fine" as an answer, but really talked, sitting next to her, looking into her eyes, asking her about how she feels, about what she dreams about what she's been missing. This could be more important than any blood test. But now our investigation needs to move forward, because there are other causes, some physical, some related to medication, and one in particular that I need you to know about because it is surprisingly common and surprisingly ignored. It was precisely here that our investigation changed completely. Because when we started mapping the most common physical causes of unintentional weight loss in people over 70, we found something that almost no health channel openly discusses. One of the most frequent and most underestimated causes doesn't originate from within the body. It's not a disease. It's not a tumor. It's not a metabolic problem. She comes from abroad. It comes from the medications that people are taking. Let me explain this carefully, because it's a sensitive and very important matter. Most people over 70 take more than one medication. Many take 5, 6, or 7 different medications at the same time. This is a reality of aging and the treatment of chronic conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, heart problems, and many more. What very few people know is that many of these medications have direct or indirect side effects such as reduced appetite, altered taste, nausea, digestive discomfort, or simply the feeling that the body does not need food. Some blood pressure medications can cause nausea. Some antibiotics completely alter the sense of taste. Some medications for chronic pain significantly reduce appetite. Some medications used to treat neurological conditions can decrease interest in food. And what happens? The person eats less, without realizing it, unintentionally, and loses weight. And nobody connects the dots. The family thinks it's just age. The person thinks they're doing well. And the scale keeps tipping. Have you checked if someone close to you might be losing weight because of the medications they're taking? This is a detail worth discussing with a doctor. A simple conversation, but one that can completely change the situation. But there is something even more important that we need to investigate. Because so far we've talked about causes that, however serious they may be, have clear solutions when correctly identified. Social isolation can be combated. Depression can be treated. Side effects of medications can be adjusted by a doctor. But there is another layer to this investigation. A layer that requires more attention, more care, and more courage to face. We are talking about the physical conditions that can cause unintentional weight loss in people over 70 years of age. And here I need to be direct with you, because you deserve clear, honest, and respectful information. Some of these conditions are serious. Some require urgent medical attention. I'm not saying this to cause panic. I'm saying this because I believe that information is protection, and that people who know what to look out for are much more likely to act at the right time. Let's start with something most people are unaware of: thyroid problems. The thyroid gland is a small, butterfly-shaped structure in the neck, and it controls virtually everything in your metabolism. The rate at which you burn energy, how your body regulates weight, your heart rate, even your mood. When the thyroid produces excess hormones, a condition called hyperthyroidism, the metabolism speeds up. The body begins to burn energy much faster than normal. And the result? Weight loss, sometimes rapid, sometimes surprising. What is particularly important to know is that hyperthyroidism in people over 70 can present itself in a completely different way than in younger people. In young people, hyperthyroidism usually causes visible symptoms: agitation, tremors, rapid heartbeat, excessive nervousness. But in older adults, these signs can be much more subtle. Sometimes the only visible sign is weight loss, unusual fatigue, an irregular heartbeat that seems to have no cause. This has a name. Experts call it apathetic hyperthyroidism, and it's much more common in people over 70 than most people realize. Were you aware of this possibility? But thyroid problems are just one piece of the puzzle, because our research has revealed another set of conditions that need to be on the radar of anyone caring for a senior citizen over 70. The next clue may explain everything. There is a category of conditions called malabsorption syndromes. The name is technical, but the concept is straightforward. Imagine a person eating normally: breakfast, lunch, dinner, nutritious foods, reasonable quantities. But the body, for some reason, is unable to properly absorb the nutrients from these foods. What happens? The person continues eating, but the body doesn't receive what it needs. And as a result, it loses weight, it loses muscle, it loses strength, it loses energy. Conditions such as celiac disease, which can first manifest in people over 60, pancreatic problems, chronic intestinal inflammation, and even changes in the intestinal flora caused by prolonged use of antibiotics, can dramatically compromise the body's ability to absorb what you eat. And do you know what's most impressive about this discovery? Many of these conditions go undiagnosed for years, because the routine exams that most doctors order don't automatically detect them. You need to know what to look for. What does this mean to you? This means that if a person over 70 is losing weight, even while eating well and without an apparent reduction in appetite, this could be an important clue for a doctor to investigate. And speaking directly to the responsible healthcare professional about this may be the most important step you or your family member takes in the coming days. But there is something that our investigation has revealed that goes beyond any specific condition. Something that connects all these points. Something that, when we understand it, completely changes the way we look at weight loss in people over 70. And that something is silent chronic inflammation. I need you to understand this because it's one of the most important concepts in modern medicine regarding aging. And it's something that very few people outside the scientific community truly understand. Inflammation. For most people, this word brings to mind swelling, redness, and pain. Something that happens when you injure your knee or have an infection. But there is another type of inflammation. Type that doesn't hurt, that doesn't cause visible redness, that doesn't show up in the mirror. It's an inflammation that occurs at the cellular level, persistent, silent, and devastating over time. Scientists call this process inflammaging, a combination of the English words inflammation and aging. It's as if the aging process itself generates a permanent, low-level inflammatory state in the body. And do you know what this silent chronic inflammation does, among other things? It directly interferes with muscle metabolism. It accelerates the loss of lean mass. It alters appetite. It impairs nutrient absorption. In other words, it actively contributes to unintentional weight loss in people over 70. And most importantly, it's invisible in routine exams. It doesn't show up in a regular checkup. It doesn't generate obvious symptoms on its own. It can only be detected when the doctor knows specifically what they are looking for. Did that surprise you? Because this discovery surprised a lot of people during our investigation. But now we've reached a point that I need to address very carefully, because there's an elephant in the room. There's the issue that many people immediately think of when they hear unintentional weight loss in the elderly, but that few have the courage to name: cancer. I'm going to talk about this clearly, respectfully, and without unnecessary drama. Yes, unintentional weight loss can be a warning sign for some types of cancer. This is a medical reality that I shouldn't and won't hide from you. Certain types of cancer, especially those affecting the digestive system, such as pancreatic cancer, gastric cancer, colorectal cancer, and also some lung and blood cancers, may have weight loss as one of the first visible signs. The mechanism behind this is complex. Tumors can alter metabolism, reduce appetite, cause nausea, impair nutrient absorption, and even secrete substances that induce the body to burn more energy than normal. But here's what I need you to understand. Unintentional weight loss does not mean cancer. Let me repeat that. Unintentional weight loss does not necessarily mean cancer. It's a warning sign that warrants medical investigation. It's not a diagnosis. It's not a sentence. It's a clue. And clues, when investigated correctly, lead to answers. The real problem isn't the possibility of a serious cause. The real problem is when people ignore the sign, when they rationalize, when they wait to see if it gets better on its own. Because the earlier any condition is identified, the more treatment options are available. This applies to cancer. This applies to the thyroid. This applies to depression. This applies to each of the causes we are investigating today. Your body is trying to warn you. The question is whether you're listening. And that brings us to something I want you to take home today. Something practical. Something concrete. The time has come to talk about what to do, because our investigation doesn't end with a list of causes. A true investigation ends with answers, with solutions, with action. And the first action is the most important. Don't ignore it. It seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many families watch a relative lose weight over months and simply believe that it's just getting older, or that it's okay, it will pass. It's not good, and it might not go away on its own. 5% of body weight in 6 months. That's the number you need to remember. If someone you love is unintentionally approaching or exceeding that limit, it's time to seek medical advice. But before you get to the doctor, there's something you can do that will make that appointment much more helpful. Documents. Start recording your weight regularly. Once a week, always at the same time, wearing the same clothes, ideally in the morning. Write it down in a notebook, on your phone, wherever is easiest. In addition to weight, observe and note changes in appetite. Dishes that were once finished now have leftovers. Foods that were once enjoyed but no longer appeal. Meals that are skipped for no apparent reason. Observe changes in mood. More withdrawn than usual? Less interested in things that used to bring joy? Pay attention to physical changes. Weakness, excessive tiredness, changes in bowel movement patterns, anything that seems different from your usual routine. All of this information you observe will help the doctor put the puzzle together much more efficiently, because the doctor will ask these things. And the difference between arriving at the office with clear answers and concrete records, or arriving saying, "It seems like you've lost a little weight, I don't know exactly when it started," can be the difference between a diagnosis in weeks or in months. But there is something even more important that you need to consider. When you go to the doctor, don't accept the answer, "It's just age," as the final verdict. Listen respectfully, but ask questions. Question them. Ask for an investigation. Unintentional weight loss in people over 70 is never just a sign of age. It always has an underlying cause, and that cause can be identified and treated. You have the right to know what is happening, and your family member has the right to receive proper care. Be an advocate for the health of those you love. This could be the most important thing you can do for them. But now, I want to tell you something that came up during our investigation and that touched me in a special way. Because behind every number, every statistic, every medical cause we investigate today, there is a human story. The story of a person who one day woke up and realized they were slowly disappearing inside their own body, that their clothes were looser, that their strength was diminished, that their appetite had vanished along with other things. The story of a family who noticed something unusual at a Sunday lunch and weren't quite sure what to do about their concern. The story of a grandson who looked at his grandfather and thought, "He's not well," but didn't know how or when to act. These stories are real. And if you're watching this video right now, you probably have your own. Perhaps it's your story. Perhaps it's the story of someone you love deeply. And this is what I want you to take away from here. Paying attention is an act of love. Paying attention to the signals your body sends is one of the most profound forms of self-care there is. It's not alarmism. It's not hypochondria. It's wisdom. Older generations grew up learning not to talk about their own bodies. They learned to endure, not to complain, to say, "I'm fine," even when they weren't. And it is up to us, the people who love them, to break this silence with kindness, with attention, with presence. One more question on a phone call, a visit you've been putting off, a shared lunch you haven't scheduled yet. These simple things can reveal more about someone's health than any test. And if what you discover is a real concern, you now have the tools to act. You know what to look for. You know how to document it. You know what to ask the doctor. You have the knowledge. Now all you need is the courage to use it. And I know you have that courage, because people who get this far, who watch an investigation like this until the end, are not indifferent people. They are people who care. If this episode helped you, if it opened any doors for you, if it made you think of someone you need to call today, I need a favor from you. Subscribe to the Professor Rex 60 Plus channel. If you're not already subscribed, do it now. It's free. And every week we bring you a new investigation with information that could literally save the life of someone you love. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any episodes. Because some videos contain urgent information, and you don't want to find out about it too late. Leave a like on this video. This simple gesture helps Professor Rex continue reaching the people who need this information the most. And more than anything else, share this episode. Send this to a friend, to a child, to a sibling, to an adult child who has a parent over 70, to anyone you think needs to hear this. Because the information that can save a life sometimes depends on a single person you've chosen to share it with. This was another investigation by Professor Rex. Remember, your body is always talking. The question is, are you listening?